Hi, and welcome to the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed, the no BS hustle-free podcast for business owners who outsource or provide outsourcing services. I'm your host, Rosie Shilo, virtual assistant advocate and owner of Virtually Yours, the virtual assistant network. Let's get started. Hi there, Rosie Shilo here from Virtually Yours. Welcome to this episode of Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. Today, I want to talk about the cost of running a business. Now, with service-based businesses, one of the great benefits is that we don't need to have products that we're stocking usually, and so having all of that inventory sitting there that you've got to invest in first before you sell it. That's one of the benefits. Also, for virtual assistants in particular, or whether it's anyone who's providing a home-based business service, coaching, anything like that, we're also blessed in that we don't have to pay for an office space or a shop front or anything like that. However, there still are plenty of costs involved in running a business that is service-based. And I think we often forget that this is pretty consistent across the board. There's a lot of business owners who run different types of businesses and seem to think that certain industries, like the virtual assistant industry, is going to be cheaper to run because all you need is a computer. Now, I'm here to tell you that that is a mystery that we're going to solve today, because it is not true. So virtual assistants, just like many service providers, also need to set themselves up to succeed, basically. So they're business owners. They're just like you. They've got business expenses. Some of those are that they've got to network. They've got to build their business. They need to network. Costs money. Yes. They need to keep learning. You want a virtual assistant on your team who is constantly learning and is at the front of the game, who is ahead of the pack, who knows where technology is going, what the business trends are. This is the sort of support that you want to be paying for. So you need to be giving them enough of an income to make sure that they can actually keep learning and growing at the pace that's required. They also need to pay providers themselves. So we need to have accountants. We need to have consultants to support us with insurance. We need to pay insurance. We generally have our own assistants who are helping us in areas of our business that we're not strong in. And if there's enough work, we need to have a team there to support us, to support you. We need to get trademarks. We need to subscribe to a number of software programs. Software is one of my biggest expenses. And we need to obviously keep our equipment working beautifully. So having good quality cameras, microphones, monitors, keyboards, laptop, and phone are the basics. They are what you need to just be working normally. Also, if you're going to be doing networking events and things like that, you're going to have travel expenses on there as well. So, of course, you've got your telecommunication expenses, your utilities. There's just so many expenses. And you can try to cut them down as much as possible. But at the end of the day, there's only so much cutting down you can do if you want to stay at the best level to provide support to your customers. So when you're looking at working with someone who is there to support you in your business in an area you're not strong in, you need to think about what it actually takes for them to keep their business running. And if you're not paying a good rate and you can't see how they would be paying for all those things on the rate that you're giving them, and of course feeding themselves and their family, then there's probably not a great chance that their business is going to survive the long haul, which means that you're probably going to be training up someone who will be out of business within a year or two because they simply can't afford to keep going. That's why when virtual assistants are charging higher rates for their services, you know that they have actually done the maths around what they need to be charging so that they can stay educated, keep learning, have the right software, have the right equipment, keep networking, have the insurances that they need, and so on. And so that then supports you. Another thing is when virtual assistants are charging the right rate, they can then have people on board who then support them to support you. So if they're unwell and can't support you directly, they'll have someone there on the team who can step up and support you, which is, as you can imagine, extraordinarily valuable. If you've got projects on the go and someone gets really sick, well, you can't force someone to work if they're really sick. Okay, if they've got a funeral they have to attend, whatever it might be, if you're paying them $30 or even $40 an hour, why on earth would they, drop something like, being on death's bed to help you run your business? It's not worthwhile for them. There's not enough incentive. But if you're paying that little bit more, around the $50 to $60 an hour mark, then they can afford to have people there to back them up when they're not well, so they don't have to stress about that. And they'll have the systems in place to support you. So when we're looking at working with other business providers, it's really important to keep remembering that we are all running businesses. And when we're looking for cheap service providers, especially in an area where you want to have ongoing support and you want to have quality support, you need to think about what that price point is going to achieve. And if you're paying a low rate for an Australian virtual assistant in particular, that's my area that I focus on, then, at the end of the day, you're looking at someone who is not going to be able to keep investing in themselves, in their business, and therefore in you. And that is just how it is. And it's unfortunate and it's frustrating, but that's how it is. So if you can't afford to hire someone to help you in your business, you need to do the maths again. You don't need to ask other people to keep dropping their prices. You need to work out your own maths, make sure you're charging what you need to make it so that you can get the support that you need. So when we all start dropping prices because other people can't afford it, instead of everybody working together to support and help each other stay in business, then things will fall apart. Now, on the same page, yes, we've got people who can provide services offshore. I've spoken about this before, who seem to be able to survive on a lot lower rates than the Australian-based virtual assistants. Now, one of the things that I love about Australian virtual assistants is that they tend to do all those things that I talk about around helping you streamline your systems, giving you, an ear and a shoulder to lean on. They look at ways to grow your business. They network on your behalf. They do have, access to the right software and programs and can give you ideas around that. So that input and that, incentive to help you grow, that's part of the value of what they're offering at that extra rate. So going offshore, you're probably not going to be getting that, and therefore it justifies to a point this lower rate. However, again, if you're offering these really, really low rates to offshore VAs, the same thing occurs where you're keeping people down instead of building them up. And you're justifying these excuses, they're justifying this low rate because of currency exchanges and all that sort of thing. And it really doesn't fly, because we all know that the value of the product is what the value of the product is. The service is worth what it is. And there seems to have been, in the time that I've been working in my business, the rate for Australian virtual assistants, the lowest rate, has increased. Yet the low rates for offshore VAs have not. Yet I'm assuming that across the world the cost of living has gone up. And we want to be making sure that when we're supporting our teams, the people that we work with, the people who are providing us with support to grow our business, that we're giving them opportunities to do more than just live to work. We want them to be able to save some money so that they can actually enjoy life and do the fun things that, come up and that should be part of their existence. So that's what I'm asking of you today, to remember that there is always expenses associated with running a business, and not just for you, for everyone. And when we respect this, and when we look at this and we factor it in, we can help each other grow, and we can respectfully pay each other what we're worth. so that people can stay in business instead of businesses failing at the rate they currently do, especially women in business. The rates of women whose businesses fail within the first couple of years is ridiculously high. And I think a massive factor for that is being underpaid and not being able to factor in the costs that it takes to keep that business afloat and viable. And when we're constantly, asking each other for deals, asking each other for lower rates, getting all competitive and doing things for any price point because you just need some money, then that's when, as a group, our statistics just look terrible. So let's flip it around. Let's keep respecting and helping each other grow. Pay people a quality rate so that they can be doing more with their lives than just sitting there and grudgingly providing you with a service, because at the end of the day, it's really not going to be worth it for them to be doing it at that rate. I hope you have a wonderful week. My apologies for not having a podcast out to you sooner. I have been quite slack in the last couple of weeks, but I do have some great podcast episodes coming up, so stay tuned. Take care.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. Between now and our next session, I know you're going to be hanging out to take some action on outsourcing in your business, so head on over to virtuallyyours.com.au and you can download some information there about the best ways to outsource for business growth. If you're a virtual assistant, make sure you join us. We have an amazing virtual assistant community at Virtually Yours, Aussie VAs connecting and helping each other grow. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you at the next podcast.